Good morning, Mr. Serhii Aleksandrov. How are you today?
Hi, Elena. I'm good. Thank you. It's very nice to meet you again, and even online. So everything is nice. Today is Sunday. Tomorrow is the first working day after Christmas holidays. So we are very energized, and everything is great.
Yeah, very nice to meet you too. Thank you for meeting us. For me, today is Sunday, and that means that this evening I have to put something new on my YouTube channel. And like this night, I wasn't sleeping like at all, editing this new material. So I would like to add this information from a competent lawyer, from immigration lawyer, about visas. One very popular question. So these days I'm receiving these messages from different people, especially many people from India. And they are asking, what about the visa? If we are having here a lockdown and my visa, Ukrainian visa, is expired during this lockdown, will I be punished? What should I do?
A very good question. It's a very popular question, not even only now, but people started asking those questions since last March when the quarantine was introduced in Ukraine. There are many rumors and speculations around this topic. Last March of 2020, Ukraine introduced this lockdown. Of course, foreigners became worried that they might not be able to leave Ukraine. They might get stuck into Ukraine, and that's why they might overstay against their own will, even though if they wanted to leave, but they couldn't. The State Migration Service of Ukraine, they actually published a clarification to this law on the website. But the situation, why it's so complicated question now, at that time it was more clear what to do, because the lockdown was introduced and the immigration office explained that all people who got stuck in Ukraine at this time, they will not be punished for overstaying by the end of the quarantine, and 30 days plus after the quarantine is over. And it was logic at the time.
May I ask you, is it really like quarantine or lockdown? Because I think the quarantine is what is happening the whole year.
Yeah.
And lockdown is happening from time to time.
Yeah, there are several ways of lockdowns. The law says about the quarantine, and the quarantine is still has been active since last March and until the present time, and we don't know how long it will stay in force. At that time, the foreigners who got stuck at the time when the quarantine was introduced, they were allowed to overstay. I said, as the law says, until the end of the quarantine plus 30 days. So these people could have some time to figure out whether they want to leave or whether they want to extend their stay in Ukraine. But the law, this law stated also that this exemption from the liability applies only when this foreigner cannot leave Ukraine because of the quarantine, right? Now we have this quarantine period, but you can leave, then you must leave. And right now, of course, people can come to Ukraine, can fly to Ukraine, can fly out of Ukraine. They can come to Ukraine by bus, leave by bus, even cross the ground checkpoints on the border. From the legal point of view, there is nothing that prevents a foreigner right now to leave Ukraine when his or her period of stay expires. But many still believe that they are free to stay in Ukraine, even though they're free to overstay in Ukraine until the quarantine ends. And I know many lawyers, many law firms, they requested official clarification from the State Migration Service. We all got the same reply. The State Migration Service explained that this exception from liability applies only to those who were at the Ukraine at the day of the quarantine implementation. So, for example, if a foreigner comes to Ukraine now, even though we have now this quarantine still, but if a foreigner comes now, exemption from the liability doesn't apply. Right now, we have already court decisions. We have cases when the State Migration Service did fine foreigners for overstaying. These foreigners were even deported from Ukraine, and some also received a ban for entering Ukraine in the future. And some of these foreigners, they tried to appeal this decision in court. And now we have court cases when courts also considered these cases, and they clearly stated that this, again, the foreigner isn't liable for overstaying only when there is no way for him to leave Ukraine. In general, as we have the situation now, I don't see a reason and I don't see a way how a foreigner is going to prove that he cannot leave Ukraine. You can buy any airplane ticket or any bus ticket, or like, you can find a way to leave Ukraine. Of course, for those that cannot return to their own country, it's more difficult because some countries are closed now. And for example, as far as I know, for example, people from Norway is absolutely closed right now, and people cannot get back to Norway. But no, it's not Ukrainians' problem. The Ukrainians' approach is that you can go to another country. Yeah, you cannot go to your own country, but you can go to another country. You can go to Turkey, Egypt, and pick up any country that is open now, and you can buy air ticket and you can fly there. So the real situation is that, yes, if you are here in Ukraine and your period of stay, your visa or your visa-free regime or your residence permit is going to expire, then actually you don't have a legal way to stay here. You should leave. As an alternative, you can apply for an extension of your stay. You can apply for an extension of your visa, or you can prolong your permit, or you can ask for the extension of your visa-free stay in Ukraine. But it's not like you apply and you get it. You can apply in some particular situations, and you need to prove that you really need this extension. If the only reason for staying here more is just because you want, it will not work out for you. So you must have a valid reason, like an illness, or you need your documents are reviewing by the immigration service, for example, and you need a couple of more days until you get the decision regarding your case, something like this.
You can apply for extension while you are still here in Ukraine, right? If you have such a special situation.
Yes.
And then the question, I am coming from a country that needs a visa, and my visa is expired, and I cannot come back to my country because maybe of a lockdown in my country. Can I go to Turkey, for example, which doesn't have a lockdown, and apply for Ukrainian visa again while I am in Turkey? Is it possible, this kind of process?
Well, yes, but it depends on your citizenship again. Foreign citizens of, for example, European Union countries, they have this 90 days of visa-free regime within 180 days. So they can get a visa, but they can get only this D visa, that is a visa for applying for the residence. So simply saying, a citizen of the EU country cannot apply for a short-term visa like for a tourist visa. So for these persons, they will need to have, they will need to apply for, to be able to apply for residence. And in this case, they can apply for this D visa. If you are a citizen of another country, for example, of India, you can apply for this short-term visa. It's called a C visa. And yes, you can go to Turkey and apply to the Ukrainian embassy in Turkey and try to get a Ukrainian visa, or one more visa.
Another question, if you allow me to ask you, if I'm from India, I'm coming to Ukraine, can I apply for European visa while I am in Ukraine?
Well, that's not the question of my expertise. I'm an expert only in the Ukrainian immigration law, and this is the topic for immigration lawyers from the European Union.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I this is not my topic at all, but people keep asking.
Yeah, that's a popular question. Many, by the way, think that getting Ukrainian residents, for example, they get automatically this European Union visa-free regime as Ukrainian have. which is, by the way, not true. So Ukrainians right now, yes, Ukrainians can visit the European Union countries without any visa for short term. But even if an Indian citizen gets a Ukrainian temporary residence permit, he's not a Ukrainian citizen anyway, still. And in this case, unfortunately, he cannot visit any European country without any visa.
So you just need to be your Ukrainian citizen for this. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I see. And for all these procedures, for all these procedures of receiving permanent temporary residence permit, like because of lockdown, quarantine, are these processes taking longer time? Because like I know some people, they want to launch their business in Ukraine and they're waiting when quarantine will be over, and they think maybe if they apply now, the process will be longer than before. What is the situation here?
It depends on these waves of lockdowns we have and had. For example, at the end of last summer and at the beginning of autumn, of last fall, Ukrainian offices, including the state immigration office, they did work with some, let's say, with some problems. They were shut down. They didn't accept visitors. And in that cases, it might, sometimes it took longer. Right now we are on the third day of a new lockdown, right? But right now, the immigration office, for example, works the usual schedule. As of now, I haven't noticed any problem.
This lockdown is very mild. I wouldn't even call it lockdown, basically, the rules that we are having.
It depends on who you are. For small businesses like coffee shops and other shops, gyms, for example. Yeah, they, as I understand, they must be closed right now. Mm-hmm. So for them, of course, it's probably a very difficult time. But for foreigners, this current lockdown basically doesn't influence anyhow on their ability to travel to Ukraine and to stay in Ukraine.
And like subjective question for you, like maybe you will not even answer because it's maybe not your competence, but still, is it now like a good time for foreigners to launch their business in Ukraine and to get this residence permit? I mean, when you really want to have business. Like right now we have lockdowns, quarantines. Is it still possible to launch a business, like from your experience, from what you see among your clients?
Well, yes, it's a subjective question. For some businesses, it's a great opportunity. This time is great because lockdown actually brought many new opportunities for new businesses or for businesses that were not that popular in the past. We all know this stories about medical equipment and medical stuff like masks and medical suits, protective suits, etc. I can only say that from the point of view of the process, like we still have clients coming here, opening businesses, getting residence permits, etc. And now I don't experience any obstacles during the process. It's as the same as it was previously. Nothing has changed. As
always, very good information, very comprehensive. Thanks a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, the contacts of Serhii will be in the description of this video, as always. Yeah, so if you need an immigration lawyer, that is the person that I recommend because he has a very big trust of me. Yeah, so thank you for watching us. Thank you, Serhii, one more time for joining us. I hope we will make more useful interviews later with you.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Elena. Have a nice Sunday. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.